fantastic day here in Ireland, so we're going to go outside, barbecue our lovely beef and wrap it up in those great beef Mexican fajitas. So what I have is a lovely skirt steak. I've just scored it and I've put that marinade over the top with the lime juice and the soy sauce. I've left that for 12 hours in the fridge, and because I've scored it, the marinade goes down into the holes and it helps to tenderize that meat. So that's looking perfect, ready to go. Now I'm just going to make sure that my barbecue is on a nice high heat. We really want the highest heat possible for this one so as we can get a lovely sear on it. So I've basically got my lovely guacamole already made. I've got a little tomato salsa. Now we have one whole separate recipe on iFoods showing you how to make those, so I'm not going to show you again. The steak, which I've already talked about, with some nice tortillas, which I'm going to show you how to warm in a minute. We've got some lovely limes, a little bit of cheddar cheese, some onion rings, some nice green peppers, and a little bit of diced cucumber. So it's very important that you have all those little things ready before we start cooking the meat, because cooking the meat is a very quick, simple process. And basically I've let this sit at room temperature for about 15 minutes. So it's just come up nicely, so on it goes. And you can hear that sizzle. We really need a nice hot sizzle. And I'm not actually going to touch that at all. About 2 to 3 minutes on that side, flip it over, another 2 minutes on the other side, and then we'll take it off, let it rest, and slice it against the grain into nice thin strips. So a couple of times during the cooking, I'm just going to spoon some of that lovely marinade over the top. And you can see all those little slits in the meat. That's where the marinade falls nicely down into the meat, and it's really going to absorb that really well. So about another minute on that side, and then we'll be ready to flip it over. So it's ready to turn that lovely skirt steak now, and you can see that it's really browning up nicely. So I'm going to give that the exact same treatment on the other side, which is a couple of nice spoonfuls of the marinade. We're going to cook that for a further 2 minutes on this side, and then we'll be ready to start assembling those fantastic fajitas. So you can see that that's been on there for a further 2 minutes. And it's really looking very, very juicy. And that little bit of sugar in there has just helped to caramelize that meat, but I can still tell just by touching it that when we cut into that, it's going to be really, really juicy. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay those little peppers on there. And once we slice these up, when they're nice and soft, that'll really add that lovely traditional feel of the fajita. So we'll just flip those over, and they've really softened up very nicely. We'll give them another 2 minutes on the other side, and then they'll be perfect to slice up. We're going to heat up our lovely tortillas, and I'm going to heat them on the barbecue today. And very simply, you don't need anything on the barbecue. Whack it on. We're only going to give it about 7 or 8 seconds on each side. And that's just enough to basically soften that lovely tortilla up and make it more pliable so that we can roll all the ingredients into it. So 7 or 8 seconds on that side. And that's it. I can feel that it's lovely and soft. That's an absolutely perfect tortilla. Now that beef's been resting nicely for a minute, and what I'm doing is slicing it against the grain, nice and thin. And you can see just in the centre that it's lovely and pink, and it's absolutely bursting full of flavour. Now we get to the fun bit where you get to get all your friends around and start rolling them up, which is really exciting.